it is hard to understand. I mean, there's not really any practical use to it. Point number one for me, the first thing to think about is it costs money to smoke. You have to buy the cigarettes. So first, where are you getting the money from for the cigarettes? Because I don't know about other people, but I didn't have my own money until I had my first job, and I was like at university or something like that. So I did any money that I had to borrow from my parents, and I wouldn't borrow money from my parents to spend on cigarettes because I needed the money for other things. I didn't have that much money.
But they too, but they spend it on cigarettes when they need some. There are also some friends who even do drugs.
Well, yeah. Well, there's also an argument that cigarettes are the first step in that kind of direction as well.
It's too weak, then you go to another level.
Yeah, the whole psychology of the okay, here's another perspective on it. I don't understand parents who don't know that their children are smoking. And I've worked with a lot of teenagers, and some of whom were smoking and their parents had no idea. And I don't understand how that's possible, because if you're a family and you're connected, you sort of know what your kids are doing, right? Most of the time. And even if you don't really know some things, you're intelligent enough to sense things, to feel things.
Well, now in this time,
They have to lie. They have to lie to their parents. How is that okay?
of course they have to lie, but well, my classmate, he smoked during break at school. He goes outside, they smoke, and he gets some chew gums or spray, and you have no idea that he smoked.
You see, this is where intelligence comes in, because it's kind of obvious, right?
Of course, yeah. Everyone knows that he's smoking.
Yeah.
Well,
Look, when I was young, I thought I knew what I was doing, right? And this is connected to another topic that I went through with a group of students last week. I'm not going to talk about the whole topic, but I was for a while when I was at university, I was selling drugs to other students, and not something I ever planned to do or wanted to do. People asked me, and I asked other people, and I ended up taking things from one person to another person, and everyone seemed very happy, and I was, and I had a bit of money, and everyone was happy, and okay, why not? Because a little bit of extra money is always useful, and I'm not hurting anybody. I was young, and I thought I knew what I was doing, and it took me a couple of years to wake up and realize how completely stupid I was, and how what I thought I was doing that was good was in fact not good, and the fact that I thought that nobody really knew what was happening, when the truth is that everybody knew exactly what was happening. And I thought that being younger, I thought I knew what I was doing, but the truth is that I had no idea what I was doing. The truth is I had no idea. And this got to a point where the police were watching me, and I had no idea.
yeah.
The police were watching me and what I was doing, and I had absolutely no idea. And one day I got a little tap on the shoulder, and the policeman spoke to me and said, you need to get out. And And I was like, whoa, okay. I was like, where did that come from? And the whole time that I thought that I was in control of what was happening, I had no control. It was all an illusion. That really, I was at the bottom of a pyramid and everybody knew what was going on, and I thought I was smart and I had control of things and I knew how everything worked, and I didn't know anything at all. And it's exactly the same with the cigarettes, right? You're young, you think you're one step ahead, you think you're smarter. You're not. You're not. Everyone else is older. Everyone else has been through it. Everyone else has seen everyone try everything. and hell, the people who are older were once younger, so they know what you're going through. And you can pretty much tell within 5 to 10 seconds of meeting someone everything about them. We make these judgments based on our experience. The more experience we have, the better judgments we make. And so if someone comes into my school, I know almost everything about them instantly. I just know from the way they walk, the way they talk, from the way they dress, from the language they use. I get to know everything very, very, very quickly. So to think that you're young and you can do stuff and your parents don't know about it, that's so completely foolish and retarded. And if it's actually true, then, oh my God, the parents are so disconnected that it's scary. Because really, your parents have observed you from when you were so tiny and small. They've observed everything you've done. You've spent a lot of time with them. You're habitually around each other. You develop instincts and senses. Your parents know instantly. Now, parents can choose to ignore this. They can switch off that part and just, I'm going to focus on my stuff. But they know. They know what's going on, because we all know the difference between right and wrong. And ask anybody at any time, do you think that what you're doing is right or wrong? They know that it's wrong, right? They know. They tell themselves that there's no other possibility, there's no other option. They give themselves a story that makes them feel better, because we all tell ourselves stories that make us feel better. And so everybody knows. Everybody knows. Everybody knows the kid who's smoking. Everybody knows the people who. Everyone knows the people who are doing things that they shouldn't be doing. Everybody knows who they are and where they are and what they're doing. And these people are like, nobody knows what they're doing. I said, no, you're young and stupid. Everyone's been there before. You're not the first one, okay? Right? It's probably about 2,000 years ago, people were sneaking out of the academies in Greece and Athens and having a little smoke behind the buildings, right? It's not anything that in any ways is new. And the teachers who care, they know instantly. It doesn't matter if you chewing gum's just a sign that you were smoking. They won't know because I'm chewing gum. No, because you're chewing gum, they'll know exactly what you're doing. You're not hiding anything. You're just signaling what you just did. Oh my God. Oh no, but there's a special spray. Who the hell sprays their mouth with a special spray? Only people who smoke do that. That's not going to cover anything at all. Oh my God, everything you do is a sign. Everything you do is a trail. Everything you do is a signal for who you are. And yeah, people can try to be things that they're not, that's for sure, but then people learn very quickly that someone is, something that they're not. All those rappers that tried to look fit and healthy by wearing Adidas clothes when they were fat, right? I mean, it doesn't work. It really doesn't work. Everyone knows who's going home and studying and who's going out and partying. Everyone knows, right? You know what's going to happen. There's a party. You know what's going to happen before it happens because you know who's going to do what. Because they always do it, right? and that's the way that we live. And when people are young, as I did when I was young, I thought I was in control. I thought I knew what was going on. I thought I was smart. I thought I was smarter than other people. And the truth was, at the end of the day, I was young and stupid and ignorant, and I didn't know what was going on. And I guess I was kind of lucky in a way that nothing really bad happened. Somehow I navigated my way through things with a lot of luck and got out the other side of the problems, and nothing too much bad really happened. But the understanding is that, oh my God, I didn't know. I didn't know. So when young people who are drinking alcohol and they think their parents don't know, it's just like, oh my God. Well, if your parents are intelligent, they do know. And if your parents are not intelligent, I feel sorry for you. Right? Because your parents know when you've had a drink and you're trying to show that you haven't had a drink, but you can't. You know, I've had students turn up to lessons drunk, right? And not really drunk, but I'm like, you've had a beer, right? Yes. Okay. I'm not angry with you. I just checking, right? I'm just checking because I want to, I want to know what it is. I want to know what I'm dealing with, right? Don't have any problem with anyone having a beer. It's just like, okay, that's cool. Be honest about it. You want to do that? That's fine. But then they go home and there's not even any. The parents don't even ask them any questions. And there's this really, really, really deep reason for that, which is the parents know that the problem is the parent. Because if the child is doing something and the child is keeping a secret from the parent, then there's a communication problem. Now, we all have communication problems we have to get over and get around, and not everything works all the time the way we want it to. But good families always find a way to keep the channels of communication open. There's always something. There's always an opportunity to talk about something if you need to talk about something. Which is something we also that's lost from society. Lost from society is the fact that younger people need to go to older people to ask for help, and you don't see that anywhere. It's not in literature that people have to read. It's not in the films. It's not in the television programs, right? It's not in the songs. It's not in the music. It's not in the magazines. It's not anywhere in culture. This really, really, really simple fact, which is extremely important. Younger people need to go to older people for help because the older people know more. Doesn't mean that the older people are always right, but it's just the way the world works. And young people tend to have this, I know what's going on. It's like, right. Good luck. Good luck, because you think that nobody sees what's happening? That people know who the good people are and the bad people are. People know instinctively who to trust and who not to trust. And if you don't, again, I feel sorry for these people because it's a sign that nobody helped them. It's a sign that nobody taught them the things that they needed to learn. You know, it's there are certain kinds of people who you should not trust. How do I know which kinds of people? Well, it's called red flags. It's things that they do that signal that maybe it's not a good idea to trust these people. Like they're not telling their parents a lot of stuff that they maybe should. And that it might not be the fact that it's a problem with them. It might be the fact that they it's not their fault. They didn't learn anything from their parents. It's just not it's not their fault. It's parents are like, I've done my job. I've delivered my child to the school. It's the school's job to educate. Okay. Have you been in one of those places recently? Yes. When was the last time you were there? Right. Do you even remember going to school? Do you remember what it was like? Oh my God. So I just think back to when I was at school, and everybody knew everything about everybody, and the idea that the parents wouldn't know as well. It's
always like that because you are there every day, the whole day. So
yeah. You spend. Yeah. It's the constructive, productive part of your day that you have to spend there, and there's not much else to do a lot of the time except observe what other people are doing, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's part of the way that the world works. The people who think they're smoking and people don't know about it, or they're going out there, they're drinking and people don't know about it, or they're stealing something and people don't know about it, or whatever. It's everything that people do is a signal about something. Everything is everything we do is communication about something. We might not know that we're communicating something, but we're communicating something. We're communicating what we like, what we care about, what we're interested in. So and then what happens when communication breaks down is you get society like this. Yeah, and also what happens over time is that people normalize it. It becomes normal. What is crazy becomes normal very slowly over time.